everyone, this is Lomi, and since I've been sick for a couple weeks, I decided to give myself something easy to work on so I could have some extra time to rest. I saw an idea on Pinterest for making masks using paint ages ago, and I always wanted to try it for dolls. I'll be making a mask for Firal today since I have 2 faceplates for her, so it's easy to grab one and try it out. I'll start by drawing a template. I measure across her face to figure out the width of the mask, and then I mark the center and how far apart her eyes are. I'll also mark about how wide her eyes are. Then I'll sketch out a design. I've always wanted to make masks for Firal and Rune both, as there's a masquerade in their book that plays a really important part in the story. In the book, Firal wears a mask that I described as being reminiscent of flames, but looking a little bit like a bird too. I've never tried to draw it before, and if I were working on a larger scale, I'd probably design something a lot more ornate. But since I'm not sure how this is going to work out, I'll try to simplify it a little. Once I have a rough shape planned out, I go over the lines with marker so they'll be bold and easy to follow. I freehand some more swirls and connect a few of the lines to add stability. Next, I cut a piece of red tulle for the base of the mask. Any kind of mesh will work for this. I put a piece of waxed paper over the drawing, put the tulle on top of the waxed paper, and tape it all down to keep it in place. The mask will be made by tracing the lines of the drawing with fabric paint. So let's see what happens. It starts off okay, but I run into problems pretty quick. I get a lot of bubbles in the paint, and even though I put a consistent amount of pressure on the bottle, I don't get a consistent amount of paint. The whole middle section turns into a big shapeless mess pretty quick, and the paint spreads a little bit too. I guess I'll just do my best. Yikes, okay, that's definitely not going to be usable. It's really thick and gloppy, and you can't really tell what it's supposed to be. It just looks like a mess. I imagine this probably works a lot better in human size. This mask is only a few inches wide, so I shouldn't be surprised. But I already have the stuff on hand, so let's try again. This time I'll try applying the paint a different way. I start by using a needle, but it doesn't work too well, except for really tight curves. So I switched to a paintbrush after a minute. This is a nail art brush I got for super cheap on eBay, so if I have to throw it away after using it for fabric paint, it's not a big deal. It doesn't hold a lot of paint and I have to dip it frequently, but this seems to work a lot better. I can actually stay on the lines for one, so that's a big improvement. But it does take a long time to do the whole thing, so if you decide to try this method, make sure you give yourself plenty of time to get it done. Once the whole thing is traced, it looks a million times better than the first try, where I used the paint straight from the bottle. I let the mask dry overnight, then I carefully peel the tulle off the waxed paper. It's so thin that I have to go really slow to make sure it doesn't tear the paint or the tulle. The other one dried really spread out, so I'm glad this one kept its shape. I put the mask on a cutting board to try to trim the tulle around the edge with a knife, but the tulle is so fine that it's hard to do. Once I switch to tiny scissors, it's a lot faster and easier. I cut out the whole mask and then cut out the eyes. The last thing to do is add a ribbon through the sides of the mask, where I drew a little loop to be the ribbon holes. This will let me tie the mask on my doll. And here's how it looks in the end. It's not a perfect fit, so I may revise my design and try again, but it's not too bad. Her ears get in the way a bit, but it would fit differently when she's wearing a wig anyway. Since Firal already has a dress styled after her ball gown from the book, having the mask really helps bring that part of my story to life. See what I mean? I might try to make another version of her mask with craft foam too, but in the meantime, this is nice to have. Especially since I'm working on further revisions for that book in between queries. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. Bye.